How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Colorado Custom Leather and Blades. My name is Nate, the owner and host, and this video is going to have to do with how I do a lot of my leather tooling and the crafts for my sheaths and just overall. We're going to be focusing a little bit more on the knots now. I'm not going to show you how to draw knots. All I can just tell you is be open-minded, have fun with it, try new things. Like I've been starting to use like split ends and stuff like that, which I'll show you here in a little bit. But also just a way that you can get started relatively inexpensive if you're interested in leather crafting or you've been doing it for a while and you're not maybe getting the results you're looking for. Now, I'm by no means an expert. This is just what has worked for me and what I've built over the years as far as skills go. And hopefully this will help you. So how this video is going to run, after the intro here in a second, we're going to talk about how you can get started with really not a lot of overhead cost on tools, and you don't need to buy every stamp in the dictionary, just the ones that make sense for what you're trying to do. And then we're going to show you a little bit of how you can transfer designs to your leather, the two methods that I use, and one of them I'm actually going to start using more often, but I'll show you one that works pretty well, and you can use the same design later if you wanted to, like if you really liked it and you want to put it on something else or whatever. And then I'm going to show you how I cut in leather and just some methods and things that I've learned over the years that have really helped me get the results that I have today. So with that being said, cue the intro. Here we go. My name is Nathaniel Wonder. Born in Ohio, raised in Colorado. Being a bladesmith for 7 years, I can tell you, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but I'm chasing quality products for the end user and or for custom orders for my clients that make sense to what they're trying to use it for. In the time of bladesmithing, I've learned that 90% on the anvil means 90% less time on the grinder. Everything is hypothetical until it's sharpened and in the sheath. And if I truly want something unique and quality, handmade is the way to do it. Welcome to Colorado Custom Leather and Blades. Okay, now you're back. Now I'm going to tell you this ahead of time. There's ways you can do this inexpensive by getting a stone because you're going to need a hard surface. You're going to need to get a stone. This was gifted to me by my foster dad. This is actually not really a leather tooling stone, and all leather tooling stone really is a piece of granite. If you want to try the cheap route, go to a store or a company that makes countertops and ask them if you can buy an end piece or a scrap piece, and see if they can even cut it for you in, just a relatively realistic size for tooling. You don't need to cover your whole table, in my opinion. This is my opinion. I've done some pretty big pieces just on this guy, just by moving my leather and making it work for me. Or you can go the route of going on Amazon or eBay or Tandy's or something like that and buying what they would say is a leather tooling stone or hard stone. Next, and that's going to be probably your biggest overhead, but the other tools, a leather maul, strop, okay, green polishing compound is relatively inexpensive. You don't necessarily need to use it. It just works better for getting a little bit sharper edge versus just kind of stropping it on the leather side doesn't have any compound on it. By the way, put compound only on the coarse side, not the smooth side. And next you'll have your stylus with a spoon, which is a very handy tool. Swivel knife, I use a ceramic knife head. And the cool thing is these are interchangeable. There's all kinds of different heads for different things. I don't know everything about swivel knives, but buy one that's going to work for you. Cool thing about swivel knives is they're customizable. You loosen this guy and you can make it taller or shorter, whatever works your hand. And then I'm going to talk to you about the background tools that I use the most, which is this set right here. I'll try to put in the description where you can find these on Amazon to help you out, but I barely use the bigger guy. But for demonstration purposes, as we go forward here, I'm going to show you the tip here so you can see how it's kind of teardropped. This is called what I call the point end or the sharp end, and then that's the rounding end. It's very important because the smaller guys have it too, and that's how I get so clean of corners when I'm doing the backgrounding. It's just how you use it is what I'm getting at. So with all that said, if you just get a stone from somewhere, hopefully free if you can. If not, what I just showed you, the maul, the strop, the stylus with the spoon and the swivel knife and those backgrounding tools, maybe about $100 some odd. Not that bad to get you set up to give you a decent quality finish. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started with imprinting your design. Now here's something that I learned about a year or so ago, and because I like to draw my own designs. This is one that I did for my fixed blade tomahawk here, and I might use this later on for another fixed blade tomahawk. So what you can do is draw your design, and this is if you have artistic skills. If not, this is the same method you can use for printing out designs. Take that piece of paper and just put Scotch tape all over it. It works as lamination. I think it's Scotch tape, yeah. Clear tape, packing tape, basically. And it makes that laminate, basically. And you can use your stylus here, and it won't rip through unless you press really hard, which you don't really need to. So that's one way. The other way is getting, this is a 6B pencil. 8B is better because it won't leave line marks behind after you erase them. It's a softer lead. This works pretty good, and I'll show you here in a second what it looks like on leather, and then when you start to cut, you can really see those lines. And honestly, I like that method because when you do the indentation, it works, but at the same time, you kind of get off lines if you don't have a wide enough of a swivel knife. But if you have a really thin one, sometimes they cave in. Now it's easily to correct when you go and you do your edge beveling, and I'll show you here in a second what I mean by that. But just keep that in mind. I really liked drawing on leather before I started tooling it. In fact, this sheath right here is 100% drawn on leather. What I also like about it, it makes it 100% unique because this is a one-of-a-kind design, right? I'm not going to be able to replicate this one exactly. And that's what I like about that. Because remember, it's all about having fun and being inspired. So let's go ahead and get to the tooling portion here. Let me get things set up. Real quick before we start cutting the leather, real fast I want to show you that this is with the 8B pencil. Okay, and again, I'm not going to show you how to draw knots here. This is just showing you how I do them, but really this is just a transferable skill with doing any leather work. But you can see that this goes on the leather very well. The only thing that you need to keep in consideration is using the right eraser. Fabric eraser works okay. Usually when these types of artistry pencils come in a pack, they come with the eraser for them. Use that eraser. If not, I'm going to show you the difference here. You can go like this and you can kind of see some lines, but also if you cut in the lines and you try to erase them, you're going to get stuff all deep in your lines. You're going to have to clean that out. Using just a regular eraser works great. You don't have that weird residue afterwards. And you can see though with that 6B why I recommend the 8B, which is what a lot of leather craftsmen and leather workers use. But you can see how easy it is just to do that design. You can erase lines and stuff. Just again, make sure you're using the right eraser and a softer pencil. But I also want to show you how you can transfer your design using this method right here. Now, real quick, you can see this is pretty dry. You really don't want to cut on this or do indentations. Or it's actually pretty good up there. But if you go right here, you can hear that. It's going to be really hard to cut some clean lines. So what I recommend is don't soak your leather in water, just get it damp. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. This is dry. This is what is known as a cool touch. I didn't soak it in water. I ran it under the sink a few times. Honestly, if you just get a tub of water and you just dip it a few times, you should be good. But I want to show you real quick the method I was talking about. Just right here, I'm just going to do this line. So you take your stylus, okay, and you just press into the leather here. Okay, let's do this real quick. And I'll show you what I mean by it creates like a ripple, almost like a ridge, even after you cut it in, unless you have a thicker blade. But just real quick for demonstration, it does work. Okay, you can kind of see it there. Let me try to just press a little bit deeper. I wasn't pressing too hard. There. But again, you can see your lines. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. But right here is what I mean by it creates a little bit of a ridge.